as someone who makes an appearance either in a supporting or non-supporting role in many of the poems that I do. The truth is that the politics that we discuss are not partisan politics in terms of Democrat or Republican. I am a member of the Common Sense Party. And for the longest count of a time, I have felt as though people who said that they did not care anything about politics or were not interested in it were making a political statement in and of itself. The new poetry that evolved in our society concerned the fact that folks wanted to use both words that people could understand as well as talk about ideas that people could understand. One such poem, at least an early poem of ours that went in that direction, concerned the fact that millions and millions of dollars are continually sent into outer space while we continue to face the same problems here on the ground. The poem said, "A rat done bit my sister Nell with Whitey on the moon, and her face and arms began to swell, and Whitey's on the moon. I can't pay no doctor bills, but Whitey's on the moon. 10 years from now, I'll be paying still while Whitey's on the moon." You know, the man just upped my rent last night because Whitey's on the moon. No hot water, no toilets, and no lights, but Whitey's on the moon. I wonder why he's upping me, because Whitey's on the moon. I was already giving him $50 a week, and now Whitey's on the moon. Taxes taking my whole damn check. The junkies make me a nervous wreck. The price of food is going up. And as if all that crap wasn't enough, a rat done bit my sister Nell with Whitey on the moon. Her face and arms began to swell, and Whitey's on the moon. Was all that money I made last year for Whitey on the moon? How come I ain't got no money here? Whitey's on the moon. You know, I just about had my fill of Whitey on the moon. I think I'll send these doctor bills, air mail special, to Whitey on the moon. We have done a number of songs, we hope, that have strengthened our connection with the third world, because it seems as though oftentimes there are attempts to split us up, divide and conquer, keep us at odds with one another so that we never define the things that we have in common. But we have more things in common than we do that separate us. The song that we wrote was about people who are sometimes referred to as aliens, or worse still, illegal aliens. And we have insisted that this is to differentiate them from folks who have come here from Mars legally. And these are folks who in our song come across near Tijuana or the Rio Grande. They're brought into this country by coyotes, people smugglers. They're forced to pay mordida, the bribes, to keep from being turned into immigration. And when they do that, they're called pollos, chickens, ripe for the plucking. Sometimes these folks come into this country with only their dreams of doing better and the clothes they got on their back. And this is what we have in common with them. The reason we get up every day and decide to try it again is because we have dreams of doing better. The song is about holding on to your dreams. We call the song Alien. We got a little something to help us out with the salsa, see. Mi amigos en la calle, dígame otra vez, uno más, por favor, como otra vez con la ritma. Midnight near the border, trying to cross the Rio Grande, running with coyotes where the streets are paved with gold, diving underwater when you hear the helicopters, knowing it's all been less than worthless if you run into patrols, hiding in the shadows, so scared that you want to scream, but you dare not make a sound if you want to hold on to your dream. Hold on. May not be a lot, but you hold on, 'cause you know it's all you got. No matter the consequences, don't feel that it grips your senses. Well, you have got to hold on to your dream. Going into LA, the city of the angels, with its bright light fascination, only adds to the confusion that your mind must now endure. The gringos take advantage when they know that you're illegal. But you a boy like policia, like a plague that can't be cured. They ain't no more data, you find out just what for you mean. But you dare not find no place if you want to hold on to your dream. Hold on, body, yeah, man. May not be a lot, but hold on. Cause you know it's all you got. No matter the consequences, all the fear that is so sincere. You have got to hold on to your dreams. Down in the Western Union, sending cash back to your family, or drinking out some vessels where the lights are very low. Your mind may start to wonder when you think about your village, or the woman that you love so much who's still in Mexico. At just $2 an hour, there is a little to redeem this life. Something in your mind, you're trying to hold on to your dream. Hold on, everybody. May not be a lot, but you hold on. Cause you know it's all you got. No matter the consequences, all the fear that grip so sensitive. You have got to hold on to your dream. Need everybody to sing with us. Hold on. Oh, y'all sing. May not be a lot, but you hold on. Cause you know it's all you got. No matter the consequences, all the fear that is so sincere. You have got to hold on to your dream. I want people to sing with us. Come on. Hold on. May not be a lot. May not be a lot, but you hold on. You know it's all you got. Cause you know it's all you got. No matter the consequences, all the fear that the grip so sensitive. You have got to hold on to your dream. Come on, help us out, y'all. Hold on. May not be a lot. May not be a lot, but you hold on. Know it's all you got. Cause you know it's all you got. No matter the consequences, all the fear that the grip so sensitive. You have got to hold on to your dream. A little bit louder, y'all. Hold on. May not be a lot, but you hold on. Cause you know it's all you got. No matter the consequences, all the fear that is so sincere. You have got to hold on to your dream. I need y'all to come there. Hold on. May not be a lot, but you hold on. Cause you know it's all you got. No matter the consequences, all the fear that is so sincere. You have got to hold on to your dream. I was wondering about our yesterdays and digging through the rubble. And to say the least, somebody went to a hell of a lot of trouble to make sure that when we looked things up, we wouldn't fare too well. And we would come up with totally unreliable pictures of ourselves. But I've compiled what few facts I could, such as they are, to see if we could find out a little bit of something. And this is what I got so far. First, white folks discovered Africa. They claimed it fair and square. Cecil Rhodes couldn't have been robbing nobody because, hell, there wasn't nobody there. And white folks brought all the civilization because there wasn't none around. How could the folks be civilized when wasn't nobody writing nothing down? And just to prove all of their suspicions, well, didn't take too long. They found out that there were whole tribes of people in plain sight running around with no clothes on. That's right. The men, the women, the young, and the old righteous folks covered their eyes. And no time was spent considering the environment. Hell no, this just wasn't civilized. And another piece of information they had, or at least this is what we were taught, is that unlike the civilized people of Europe, these tribal units actually fought. And yes, there was some crude implements, and yes, there was primitive art, and yes, they were masters of hunting and fishing, and courtesy came from the heart. And yes, there was love and medicine, religion, intertribal communication by drum, but no paper, no pencils, and no other utensils, and hell, these folks never even heard of a gun. And this is why the colonies came, to stabilize the land, because the dark continent had copper and gold, and the discoverers had themselves a plan. They would discover all the places with promise. You didn't need no titles and deeds. Then they would appoint people to make everything legal, to sanction the trickery and greed. And back in the jungle, when the natives got restless, they would call it guerrilla attack. And they would never describe that the folks finally got wise and decided that they would fight back. And still, we are victims of word games. Semantics is always a bitch. Places once referred to as underdeveloped are now called mineral rich. And the game goes on eternally. Unity kept just beyond reach. Egypt and Libya used to be in Africa. They've now been moved to the Middle East. There are examples galore, I assure you. But if interpreting were left up to me, I'd be sure every time folks knew this version wasn't mine, which is why it is called His Story. One of the first songs that I wrote when I moved here was a song that concerned it concerned the 5 nations in southern Africa that were looking for liberation at the time. They were Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Azania. And of course, since we have done those songs, 3 of those nations have claimed independence, and we feel as though the other 2 are on the edge, on the border. There are folks who are struggling in Namibia and Southwest Africa, and constant reports that would encourage people who are supporters of the Southern Africans are suppressed to make us feel as though there's nothing going on. But as long as people want to have freedom and want to have liberation, there will be things going on, and we need to keep the faith and keep the candle burning. When we say what's the word, we would like to have everybody join us and say Johannesburg. We get everybody? Now, we don't want to have it sneak up on y'all, so when we say what's the word, we want to look at everybody say Johannesburg. Can we get it all? 1, 2, and you know what to do. Tell me what's the word? Tell me, mother, have you heard from Johannesburg? Somebody tell me what's the word? Tell me, woman, have you heard about Johannesburg? They told me that I'm going over there to find a man. And we don't know for sure, because the news we get it of a lava man was the concrete. Yes, I hate it when the blood starts flowing, but I'm glad to see this distance go ahead. Somebody tell me what's the word? Tell me mother happy from Johannesburg. Somebody tell me what's the word? Tell me woman happy from Johannesburg. They tell me that our brothers are over there, still the work in the mine sometimes. They may not get the news, but they need to know we're on their side all the time. Yeah, now, sometimes just a friend misunderstand, but deep in my heart, I'm the man. Somebody tell me what's the word? Tell me mother happy from Johannesburg. A lot of people talking, ain't saying what I want to hear. What's the word? Tell me woman happy from Johannesburg. Said I know that they're struggling over there, that ain't gonna free me. We're not entirely. Yes, but we fight harder. We got to be struggling. Say if we wanna be free, if we wanna be free, 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 free. See, my office used to be right down here on the corner of 9th and W. And when I would tell people I was in 9th and W, they'd say, man, ain't that a rough neighborhood? I said, yeah, it is pretty rough. But it ain't as rough as 11th and W, and it ain't even as rough as 16th in Pennsylvania. But I feel like the people who got to live over there, they really in trouble. Everybody gets to look at the White House when they come to Washington, D.C. But this is a part of what goes on out in front of the White House that very few people ever get a chance to take a look at. Across the street, they're demonstrating for world peace. Over here, you have different signs that have been sentenced to the star of our B movie, asking them about justice and freedom and equality. You know, the protests that are launched in this country are not launched necessarily against the government. They're launched in terms of the fact that this country has rarely lived up to its advanced publicity. This is supposed to be the land of justice, liberty, and equality, and that's what everybody over here is looking for. Morning come and bring the tourists, painting rubbernecks. Perhaps a glimpse of the cowboy making the world a nervous wreck. You know, the question is not actually who the baddest hombre is in these parts, because I think I'm the one. But it has a lot to do with the difference between the Old West and the New West, and the way it is perceived. Because you see, there are a lot of folks in America who are refusing to recognize the fact that today is actually today. Times have changed, but very few folks in America have. We would like to do a tune for you. Actually, the tune was put together a little over a year ago, and the problem, well, there were several. But the main problem was what we was going to call the tune. And after we had put the tune together and looked at it, like, we decided we was going to call it Real to Real. This is going to be R-E-A-L to R-E-E-L. And that was certainly going to be the max. And then we said, no, might be some people that don't get it. So we decided we was going to call the tune From Real to Surreal. And we were going to draw a lot of lines under surreal so everybody would know that that was the main one. Then we said, no, that may not get it. Then we decided that we were going to call this particular idea From Shogun to Raygun. That covered everything that we wanted to talk about. Because see, the news was loose about the mandate. A mandate would be indicating a majority, an overwhelming majority, as a matter of fact, a landslide. A majority of such force that it entitled the holder of this mandate to change everybody's life 180 degrees. So we went down in the community down on 7th Street, told some of the brothers they had been a mandate for Raygun. And he said, oh yeah? What was the final score? So they said, well, 26% of the registered voters voted for Raygun. And they said they would have been more impressed if it had been 26% of the American people. And then we said, well, Skippy come in second with 21% of the registered voters. And that among all the other people who was running also at the same time, they gathered about 2% altogether. First thing that the brothers noticed was that 51% of the registered voters had voted for nobody. And as far as they were concerned, that indicated that nobody should be the president. That 74% of the registered voters had not voted for Raygun, which indicated a mandate in the other direction. And after a few months of dealing with Raygun and his administration, they have come back to me and said, yeah, it's true. Nobody is the president. See, a lot of folks believe that this was the first time we had ever done anything on Raygun. That's not true. We had done several things. We did a poem one time called The Bicentennial Blues. And we referred to Raygun as Hollyweird. Acted like an actor, acted like a Democrat, acted like a liberal when he was acting like the head of the Screen Actors Guild. This is a position currently held down by a man named Ed Asner. During the late 40s, Ronald Reagan was the head of the Screen Actors Guild, and it was his job to defend people like Dalton Trumbull or David Susskind from the rages of McCarthyism. That was when they were looking for reds under the corners of every carpet. Decided he was going to act like a Republican. Acted like General Franco when he acted like governor of California. Heard the conservatives was on the way in and acted like one of them. Showed up in 1976 acting like somebody was going to vote for him for president. And showed up in 1980 acting like 26% of the registered voters was actually a mandate. Got all of us acting in this one, actually. The truth is that at least 26% of the registered voters don't want to deal with tomorrow. They are holding on to some image of America's past. But America has changed in the last 20 years from a producer to a consumer. And all consumers know that when the producer names the tune, the consumer has got to dance. That's the way it is. You don't believe it? You go downtown tomorrow, pick up a $4 piece of meat, give the man $2, and we'll see you in about 30 days. Because whatever's happening, the producer names the tune and the consumer has got to dance. See, it was all right when America was the producer. Hey, they was dealing with it. It was my way or the highway. But now that America is a consumer, they want everybody to deal with the same things they deal with. They don't know if they want to be Bob Dylan or Matt Dillon. They don't know if they want to be diplomats or continue to threaten everyone with a nuclear nightmare. John Foster Dulles ain't nothing but the name of an airport now. See, this used to be a country where everybody looked forward to tomorrow. And all of a sudden it became the way we were, and the summer of 42, and them good old days, them good old boys, them good old days, them good old boys. And all it proved is that America was not ready to deal with today. They were looking for one of their cinema heroes from the 30s or the 40s to run up and save everything at the last minute. Because somebody always came to save America at the last minute. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 2 strikes, nobody on base, down by 10, don't worry. Somebody will come to save America. Especially in B movies. You see, when I used to go to a movie as a young man, there was always 2 of them. There was the one that you was paying your money to see, and then there was the second one, which was like a B movie. This was the one that Reagan was usually in. And it would either be like an oat burner or one of them tremendously patriotic flicks or something with the monkey. Yeah, the monkey was all right. The monkey was cool. But what happened is that America looked back for someone from the 30s or 40s. They were actually looking for someone like John Wayne. But John Wayne was no longer available, and so they had to settle for Ronald Reagan. And it has given us all the feeling that we are somehow being cast as supporting or non-supporting characters in a B movie. That'll be all. Come with us back to those inglorious days before heroes were zeros, before fair was square, when the cavalry came straight away and all American men were like Hemingway, to the days of the wondrous B movie. The producer, underwritten by all the millionaires necessary, will be Casper, the defensive Weinberger. No more animated a choice available. The director will be Attila the Hague, frantically running around declaring himself in charge and in control, the ultimate realization of the inmates taking over at the asylum. The screenplay will be from a book called Voodoo Economics by George Papadoc Bush. A special introduction by David the Trojan Horse Stockman. The theme song of the very military macho man. Macho man to me. You left, right. A little mood music for saber rattling and selling war door to door. Remember, we're looking for the closest thing we could get to John Wayne. Cliches abound like kangaroos, courtesy of some spaced out Marlon Perkins. You remember Marlon Perkins? The old guy that used to come on Wild Kingdom and say things like, There's my assistant Jim wrestling with that alligator. Ooh, look out, Jim. Cliches abound like kangaroos, courtesy of some spaced-out Marlin Perkins, a ray gun contemporary. Cliches like tall in the saddle. Cliches like itchy trigger finger. Cliches like riding on or off into the sunset. Cliches like get off of my planet by sundown. More so than cliches like he died with his boots on. The man is John Wayne tough. The man is Marine tough. The man is Bogart tough. The man is Cagney tough. The man is cheapsteak tough and bonzo substantial. Never fooled us for minutes. We're looking around feeling as though it went from Hollywood to hillbillies, from liberal to libelous, from bonzo to Birchite or born again. Civil rights, women's rights, gay rights, it's all wrong. Call in the cavalry, disrupt this perception of freedom gone wild. God damn it, first one of them wanted freedom, and then they all want freedom. Give them an inch, and they'll take a mile. Nostalgia, that's what America wants, the good old days, when we gave them hell. When the buck stopped somewhere and you could still buy something with it. To a time when movies were in black and white, and so was everything else. Lon Chaney, our man of 1,000 faces, got nothing on Ron. Doug Henning will do the makeup. Special effects by Crazy Glue and Grecian Formula 16. Transportation furnished by the David Rockefeller Remote Control Corporation. Their slogan is, why wait till 1984? You can panic now and avoid the rush. So much for the good news. As Wall Street goes, so goes the nation. And here's a look at the closing stocks. Racism is up, human rights are down. Peace is shaky, war items are hot, the house cleans all ties. Jobs are scarce, money is hard to come by, and common sense is at an all-time low with heavy trading. Movies were looking better than ever, and all of a sudden no one is looking because we all feel as though we're starring in a B-movie. And we would have rather had John Wayne. Damn well probably would have done better if we'd ended up with John Wayne. Help me, y'all. And you don't have to be in no hurry. And you don't ever really have to worry. And you don't have to think about how you feel. Just keep repeating that none of this is real. And if you're thinking that something's wrong, well, just remember that it won't be too long before the director, remember him, cause the same. Nobody is the president. We got somebody over there who's acting like one, but to this point here, what we believe is that nobody actually is in charge. Ready to go? Hey, this ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, see, and everybody ought to know that this ain't really your life. Wouldn't do your life like that, say. This ain't really your life, ain't nothing but real, the real, say. This ain't really that silly, this really ain't real. This ain't really your life, say. Everybody ought to know this ain't really your life, cause this ain't how your life would go. This ain't really your life, ain't nothing but real, the real, say. This ain't really that silly, this really ain't real. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, don't worry about nothing, don't worry about nothing, say. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really about nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really real. This ain't really your life, ain't really nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really nothing but a movie. And we would have rather had John Wayne. Odds are we probably would have been better off with John Wayne. Take care, big fella. It's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. It's Washington, D.C. It's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. It's Washington, D.C. You know, it's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. Washington, D.C. It's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. Washington, D.C. It's the capital. Got you feeling capital. The punishment is capital in Washington, D.C. It's the nation's capital. It's the nation's capital. Punishment is capital in Washington, D.C. It's the capital. Washington, D.C.